Good morning, everybody. It's October 12th. We have been through some stuff. This is now the second week in a row that we've had major storm hit our area, and luckily we are rebuilding. We are having a great time here, meeting our neighbors and trying to help out where needed. And a lot of our county, I want to say, is about 30% still out of power. So, it is what it is. We're Floridians, we're strong, we know how to deal with things, we know how to prepare, and those that are scared will definitely evacuate, and those that feel secure with their home are going to remain behind here. So, I'm bringing to you this morning our guest speaker, Blake Fitzpatrick with Sunshine Movers. And he's just been a wonderful addition to our community here and helping out where needed. And I cannot thank this man enough for all of the things that he's been doing. So I'm waiting for him to connect right now. I'm a few minutes early, but because we don't have internet for the majority of our county, I figured we're probably not going to get too many people that want to go live on the channel this morning. So I'm Kelly Fullick. I work for Keller Williams on Team Sarasota Home Specialist. I'm a local native Sarasodian here in our community, just bringing to you great connections, people that you can use to service your home or help you with relocating, like Sunshine Movers. So I'm going to give it just a few more minutes and see if we can get him to connect here. It looks like he's connecting to audio. I can't see you yet though, Mr. Blake. So I don't know if you can turn your video on. Let's try something, or I'll restart at 9:41 and see if something happens. There you are. Hi, how's it going?
All right. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah, we're good to go. Thank you so
Awesome.
much for being here. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing pretty good. I want to make sure my microphone is set up here. Give me a
Yeah.
second. How does that sound? Does that sound better or worse?
No, it sounds great. Sounds great.
Perfect. All right. So, good morning.
So, the man of the hour here, Mr. Blake Fitzpatrick. I've gone ahead and I logged in a few minutes early as well. I saw your notification that you were on, and I was like, oh crap! All right, let me join in, since we don't really have too many viewers that are going to be joining us. Since we still have about 30% of the people here in our county still without power or internet. So I figured, what's the harm in
That's
starting
actually
something?
low. I thought it would be more than that. It seems like it's more than half that are still without power, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying from the all the posts and everybody saying, "Oh, I want hot coffee," and we were lucky enough to have power, so I went ahead and put it out there to see if anybody needs, a hot shower, coffee, relax in the air conditioning.
Yeah,
We're here. I
yeah.
remember a few hurricanes back. Our power was off, I want to say, for a week. We were camping in our house. It was rough, and it was not as cool out as it is after this hurricane. And there were a lot of people nice enough to have us come over to relax in the air conditioning. So definitely, if you got AC on, if you got power on, open your house up, let people come over.
It was 68 degrees when I woke up this morning and went outside. I have 5 dogs. I've got 6 fence panels down. My house is chaotic right now. We don't walk our dogs. We don't even have leashes for all of the dogs. So when I tell you our house is literally upside down right now, it's only because we have, an open backyard, and I have one very, very much escape artist dog. So, it's like,
Oh, I've had those. We've had plenty of those.
yeah, yeah. So
Jason running
that's
around the
been
streets, driving around, blowing whistles, calling his name. Oh, I remember those days.
Oh yeah, yeah. My husband had to chase him down the road the other day, and I was like, are you kidding?" And he's like, "No." He looks for the moment, like you turn your back or something, and he's like, "Shh," and you're like, "Oh my gosh." So yeah,
Yeah.
he caught him down the street and had to pick him up. But speaking of picking up, the man who has made a whole business out of picking things up and putting them
Putting
down.
them down. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been a great we've been in business 10 years. It's been great, but now it's nice to be able to give back, and I think it's perfect timing, between all the community needs that there are, and now this hurricane. So it's been nice. It feels good, but it's also tough because people are going through hard times. But I'm just glad to be able to help. I'm glad
Yeah,
to have a company big enough and with enough good guys that are willing to do this kind of stuff because this is not easy work. When
no,
we go into a house and we move furniture, that people are planning on their move for 30 days, 60 days. They're downsizing, they're organizing. But when a hurricane comes or water damage or flooding, there's no preparation. It's coffee cup is still sitting on the coffee on the table, and they were in the middle of living in that house when all of a sudden it's like, hey, we got to get out. So when we
yeah,
go into these houses, they're not organized, they're not clean. It's the customer is still in the house, kind of trying to figure out organizing and seeing what to keep and what not to keep, and their levels of of anxiousness are very high. So our guys are trying to work around that. It's just tough, and I'm really happy to say that we have a lot of good guys that through Debby, that was tough, the flooding. But we have a lot of good guys that are willing to go in there and kind of hold the customer's hand through all this. Because
yeah,
at one point, and it still is, I do a lot of that. People in the office do a lot of that, and it's not really expected for these guys to do that. Because what they do is a tough job already as it is. So bringing in this hand holding type of deal and patience, I'm just really happy that I've got a good amount of guys that are on board to do this kind of stuff.
yeah, absolutely. So tell me, did you guys ever, you lost power or you were good the whole time?
No, we lost power for about a day and a half. Um, Not as bad as others. I was actually, truthfully, I was actually hoping that our power would be out a little longer. I have three kids, 12, 12, 11, 10, 12, 10, 9, 12, 10, 9.
I feel like I know where this is going.
And we told them, we said, guys, this could be a big one, just so you know, make sure you get everything, get some clothes together, whatever. And then sure enough, the power goes out. It's not that bad of a hurricane. It didn't blow the windows out or anything, but the power was out. And we already kind of prepared the kids for this. So like, what do we do? We're like, you sit here, you see what we're doing. And
Welcome to the 90s.
I was enjoying the fact that they were getting a nice sense of reality. Those video games, the TV, the cell phones, all that good stuff, tablets, they're not going to be on forever. So when the power came on the next day, I was like, ah.
I
And
know.
go figure, the same evening, the kids are in there. Yeah, I want to watch this. I want to do that. It's my turn to use the tablet and all this other stuff. I'm like, guys, you were sitting here complaining about how hot it was last night. Now it's back to what channel you want to watch. Come on.
Yeah. What's the Wi-Fi password? Yes, I
Yeah,
know.
I'm about to go turn off the breaker and just say,
There you,
oh, the power went out again. Sorry, guys.
there you
Kumbaya
go.
time.
Well, do they at least help out with cleaning up like yard debris and stuff like that?
Oh,
Yeah. All
yeah.
right, good. Yeah.
Oh,
'Cause I
yeah.
put mine to work as well.
Oh yeah, we try to teach our kids, and we use the company. It's funny, kind of cross into that. I try to teach my kids as many lessons as we can,
Yeah.
and being grateful of things. So with the company Sunshine Movers, we do a lot of that. Like we'll have conversations. It's a very me and Ashley, we have very open conversations about what's going on at work. And the kids will chime in like, oh, we might talk about something that somebody did wrong. One of our guys did something wrong, and we're talking about what we're going to do about it, or maybe the situation needs amended, and we're just going through hey, okay, this is what we should do about this. I remember my son popped up, he's like, hey, so one of your workers did something wrong, are you going to fire them? And I had to sit down like with him, and I said, Colton, no, 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 you don't understand. Everybody makes mistakes. I said, but one thing that you really need to understand is that those guys, those workers that you called them, those are the reason why you have these nice things. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have these things. We rely on those guys, we depend on them. And so I had to make him kind of step back and understand that these people, I don't like people to call me their boss. I don't like people to say that they work for me. And I like people to say they work with me. We work together. I'm not anybody's boss. We work together. And I wanted him to kind of see that and kind of get that in his own perspective. So I sat him down and walked him through, those. I love using my company as to teach lessons to my kids, and all kinds of reasons, all kinds of ways. So this is just another one of them. You know.
I think you're doing great things. Tell me about what you're doing around in the community, though, because last I was really catching wind of your posts. It was, a week and a half ago, and we were getting murdered by Hurricane Helene at this time. And I know that there were a lot of search and rescue efforts that were going out, but at the same time, here in Florida, we had massive flooding and storm surge. And,
Mhm.
a lot of the homes ended up getting buried. We had piles of rubble that was out on the curbs already. And now we have a Cat 3 that's just coming in right on the tailgate. So, what were you in the process of doing? Are you able to pick up where you kind of left off, or are things kind of chaotic at this point?
So I'll go from the beginning. So with Debby, there was a lot of flooding. That was a very interesting storm because we didn't have wind damage. So we
Yeah,
didn't have like roofs ripped off or houses getting open to the outside elements, unless you're on Anna Maria. That was kind of a different story. But
sure.
in general, within a community, it was water rising. So there were a lot of people, and we've seen this before. A lot of people, they don't realize um, the seriousness of that and the steps that they take afterwards. So usually it takes a few days, sometimes even longer. Some people, they need to see the mold on the wall before they make the calls. But we were right before Milton started coming in and intruding on everything that we were doing. We were starting to get more and more calls. It went from 2 an hour to 5 an hour to 10 an hour of calls of, hey, I need help. And we were scrambling, trying to help everybody. We actually put together a pack team. We had some people come out. We put together a pack team to alleviate my guys because it's very hard to find good skilled movers, which is all we ever look for. But packers not so hard. So we brought in a team of packers to try to help get more of these done. And we were actually in the middle because we were just sending people out. If it took 5 guys for a day and we only had 3 guys, we're gonna send those 3 out. We're gonna get them some kind of help. So we
Yeah.
actually have had moves that were still open-ended when Milton came in. So yeah, we went from helping people get out of their house to just crossing our fingers and hoping whatever came from Milton, we could still jump in where we left off. Well, here we are. We can't jump in where we left off. So we did have the office open yesterday. We got a lot of calls coming in. The problem is that all the storage facilities power is off. Our warehouse, we have a warehouse for my moving company. That warehouse is full. We've got all the climate controlled full. We've got the non-climate control full. So we work with storage facilities. Well, all the storage facilities have no power. So all the clients that we were trying to get out on emergency moves from Debby, those can't do anything. We can't put the stuff in the trucks because it's wet. You put it in the
Yeah.
trucks, it gets hot and humid, it then becomes more susceptible to mold. So right now we are in a standstill phase. We're hoping that Monday, once Monday comes around, the storage facilities power comes back on, and then we can start pumping out more options for these people. Because the longer that goes on, it only takes 72 hours and mold starts to grow. And
Okay.
usually at 72-hour mark, we can still come in. We are still a good option to come in, get the stuff out, and then we can clean the items. And that's a whole nother ballgame that we can talk about. But we actually help clean contaminated items. But we could still do that at 72 hours. So we still have options on Monday. Come Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday next week, that mold will take over so much that that furniture will no longer be salvageable. So we do have to act quick to get these things out of there. What we saw though, which is interesting, each storm brings its own components and pieces. What we saw with Debby was the flooding along all the coast, right? So think about it. The type of houses that you see on the coast are usually big houses.
Yeah.
We got a lot of calls. We were out doing antique cleanouts on Siesta. I'm talking like beautiful, beautiful furniture. We had a 130, I think it was like a 130-year-old Steinway piano. It was
Oh
a
my
grand
God.
piano. Yeah, it came out of a church years and years and years and years ago. This collector picked it up along with other crazy things that I have never even seen before. And I've seen some interesting antiques. But that's what's the reality of it. So these houses, the value of the furniture in it is so much that the furniture items are really, anybody else would say, oh man, that's got to go to the dump. But they're so valuable that we're putting in 2, 3 hours of just really trying to clean it and preserve it, to preserve that antique. One, value; two, it's not replaceable. So it was interesting. It was very interesting this last one with Debby. And now we're still curious to see what's going to happen with Milton coming over it, because I've got one move, and we've been very involved with this client because he left for the storm.
Okay.
And then I don't know if you know it, but the people who left, who evacuated, they were on the roads for hours trying to
Oh
come
yeah.
back into town.
Yeah.
Well, one of those was a client that we already had scheduled from Debby coming in. So he'd already had the mitigation company come in, rip out the drywall, take out the flooring, and he still had some furniture that we were supposed to get today. Well, all day yesterday, he was finding out from his neighbors that it was flooded again. So all that furniture got hit again. I've never dealt with that. I've never dealt with furniture or a home that's been flooded twice before we get to it. That's new, and I don't know what to expect there.
It's
And
insane.
and we couldn't get in there to help him. We couldn't get in there to help him. He didn't get home last night until 7 o'clock. And there's no storage facilities. I take that back. I think we are at his house because what I said, because I try to come in and problem solve. I'm like, listen, guys, we were sitting there having a team meeting. I said, listen, guys, he doesn't know what it looks like. We don't know what it looks like, but I can guarantee that there's something that we can do. He already had, some of his documents and artworks up high. I said, there's something that we can do. And truthfully, just keep us on the schedule because you might not be able to get us again and it's time sensitive. So each person's situation, each home, everything is a different one. It's like they're coming at us and we're trying to put together processes so that my team knows what to say and how to hold their hand and how to walk them through the process, how to schedule them. But realistically, every single one is a whole new situation that it takes a team to figure out. So it's not easy.
And I remember you just recently telling me that you're actually putting together additional steps for like water remediation and stuff for your whole team so that they know how to deal with this and in the future. So I know that your systems and processes, they might be a little chaotic at the moment, but
Yeah.
I feel like you're really putting things together in a great place for your clients, for your future clients. Tell me what you're working on right now though.
Well, you're talking about what I did with my office. I believe in educating clients. I've learned, you hear about the moving industry and all the headache stories that you hear. You see the bad reviews. Well, I'm going to be blunt, honest. We don't have bad reviews, and I know why. It's because we educate our customers. And I know the importance of educating the clients and what that does for the moving process, for the anxiety in these clients. Take away the water damage, take away the hurricanes. There's still lots of anxiety when you got to deal with your things being moved around.
And so much
So I,
emotion,
what's that?
so much emotion as well, you know? There's like it's
Absolutely. So
just
now,
selling a house in general, you have so much emotional attachment. It's crazy, but yeah.
yeah, and so with that, I'm actually certified. It's the IICRC. That's who certifies for any licensing for water damage restoration, mold remediation, hazmat, all that stuff. It's IICRC. I actually went and got my certification. I went and took a class, passed my exam on the first try. Was really excited about that.
Good job.
But so I have this knowledge, but it was something that we just kind of got into. We've been doing it for years, working with restoration companies, but I decided I wanted to take it a step further. I got my certification that allows me to handle water damaged items and the cleaning process and the storage and inventory process that goes along with it. So then all of a sudden we had these floodings shortly after I got my certification. And I knew we were about to get bombarded with calls, and I wanted my office staff because they don't know. So when people call in, they're just going to kind of give them whatever they got or try to go down our list of what we normally say. And that's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. And then people are going to walk away very upset, and I can't have that. So I knew that I needed to go put together a list of processes, questions that are going to be asked, frequently asked questions, what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and a set of steps. And we did that. We did that right after Debby hit. I had it the night prior to the office opening, brought it in, gave it to everybody, and I'm so excited that it worked. One thing as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, when you put a process in or a new thing in your business and it works, it's like having a baby. It's like holding, for me it is anyways, it's
Yeah,
like
it is.
holding my first child. It's like, oh, it worked. It worked. Clients were getting taken care of. We had to take away some of the steps so we could get them rapidly on the schedule. But at the same time, you have to figure out, well, what are we going to put into place to make sure that that rapid scheduling isn't just going to blow up in our face? And it
Right.
worked. We did that. So yeah, we've put together processes. We put together things for our clients so that when our clients call in, they have information that's being handed to them that's from, directly from the IICRC, the source, so that they're getting actual good information. And it worked out well. Now we're just trying to throw things together. I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something about the restoration industry and when these disasters come along. And this is for almost all services. When you have something like this come in at such a massive scale where so many people are disrupted in their lives, businesses are getting just saturated with calls, it's just craziness everywhere. There's usually steps, just like when you sell a house, when somebody buys or sells a house, there's a steps. When we
Sure.
move people's furniture, there's steps. Restoration industry, there are supposed to be steps. When you go in, do the assessment, you know, the way ripping the drywall out, getting the dehumidifiers in there to dry everything out. Well, the problem is when you have a disaster like this, their steps are all over the place. If you can get dehumidifiers, get them. If you can't, skip on and go to the next step. Start ripping drywall out. Start taking things out to the house. So when we're dealing with this, there are so many crazy pieces of the puzzle. So me having that certification, I can go in and kind of see, okay, that step was skipped, but this is what we can do to make this client's home more livable, or raise the chances of saving these items, or get this client out, knowing the when and where we can store those items because they're wet. So all these things, when these storms come in, it just becomes such chaos. And so having the knowledge that we have and also educating our team to then educate the clients, it makes a huge, huge difference. And I feel so bad because these people, they don't know what to do next. They don't have anybody to call. They might already have a mitigation company, but that mitigation company is so busy, they can't get them on the phone. They don't know what's going on. And so when we come in, we can kind of fill in those gaps and we
Yep.
educate people, and it helps. It helps a lot. And that's what I believe in, educating the customers. And that comes with a ton of strings attached. So many.
It sure does. And yeah, it definitely alleviates a lot of stress, a lot of, you know, conflict on the end as well. So you can really adapt and build those relationships that you're wanting
Yeah.
to build. Tell me about if we remove all hurricanes and natural disasters out of the way though, what areas are you now focusing on? Are you still are you expanding outside of Florida?
Well, we started doing out-of-state moves about a year and a half ago. You don't see a ton of me advertising it and screaming it because we care about our quality more than anything. And if I can't guarantee quality, then we won't do it. So
Okay.
we're only doing about 3 out-of-state moves a month right now.
Okay.
We're getting ready to vamp that up. We just had one of our drivers go and get his CDL. We paid for him to get his CDL, which is super exciting. We've been working on that for about a year.
Tell me what
Um,
that is.
a CDL?
Yes.
Commercial driver's license.
Got it.
It's to allow us to drive heavier trucks, heavier loads. So
Okay.
one of the here's a piece of the moving industry that's really tough is that our trucks, when they're empty, those 26-foot trucks, they weigh about 18,000 pounds. And by law, if you go over 26,000 pounds, you are overweight unless you have a CDL or that truck is set up to carry that much weight. Long story short, that truck can hold, when you fill it up with a 3-bedroom house, it's
Oh,
going to be about 10,000 pounds. So you're almost always overweight if you fill that truck up.
okay.
So that's one of the things that we have to deal with. So when we move people long distances across the country, that how much stuff they have deciphers how many trucks because of the weight. And so what
Okay.
we're doing is we're getting a truck that will hold about 15,000 pounds before it's overweight with a CDL driver. So we can start doing bigger hauls at a lower cost for our clients. So
Okay.
most of the moving companies in this area that do long distance, most of them do not have semi trucks. They just have regular 26-foot trucks like you go get at U-Haul or Penske, and it limits them to only being able to put about 7,000 give or take pounds on there, which isn't a lot. It's not a full 3-bedroom home. So then it forces them to put a second truck on the road, cost the client more money. We invested in one of our guys to go get his CDL, and we're investing in.
Oh, something just happened with your audio.
Oh,
Hold on, your audio just kicked out. Oh, there. I don't know. Something happened where your audio just left
is that
as soon
better?
as you started saying that.
Is that better?
Yes. Yeah. Now I can hear you.
Maybe my microphone died. I have a little a USB microphone, but
No problem.
But yeah, so we are. We're taking steps. We're going out of state. That's been something recent that we've been doing to help clients. We get so many requests for it. We started doing that over a year ago, and we're just building that up. It's taking time. The other thing is again the restoration side with our licensing. We're able to do content cleaning. So if furniture was contaminated with water damage and things like that, we can come in and clean it and restore it for our clients. Which where we are with what we're dealing with, antiques and things like that, that's a big deal, definitely.
Is there
But I
a difference between flooding and storm surge as far as the seawater versus just freshwater?
so if you have flood water, it's typically category 3 water, which is the worst. And the reason why, and I learned this in my class,
Okay.
the reason why is you have microbials, these little, just consider them like germs or just little organisms.
Yeah.
They're everywhere and they don't die. They'll live for millions of years without ever moving. And what happens is when they find a place, they'll go stagnant and they're not moving. They're just going to sit there dormant, kind of. Well, once that water comes in, it activates them and then
Okay.
it carries them with them. And so when you have flooding, even if it's not sewage water, sewage is the worst. We dealt with that with Debby. But
Yes.
with right now, just hurricane water, the storm surge coming in, it still goes through and picks up all those microbials as it's rushing in. And when it comes into your house, they all come into the house. So yeah, it's not good. It's even though some people just think it's salt water, it's just whatever. No, it's still carrying those germs, those microbials, and things have to be cleaned because that's what can cause it can cause mold, it can make you get sick. It's not good and they have to be cleaned out. So some things can't be cleaned, they have to be thrown out. Some things can be cleaned. And that's one of the things that we learned in our class, like if the water can absorb into an item, like your sofa that's made of fabric, that's going to have to get thrown away, unfortunately, if you can't put it in a wash machine. Clothing, you can put it in a wash machine, you're good. Hard, wood furniture, if it's absorbent, like unfinished wood, just bare wood that'll soak the water up, no good. But if it has a nice stain all over all of it and the water didn't actually absorb into it, we can clean it. And so we have the chemicals to clean it. And that's another thing too, is all the places to get these chemicals and cleaning agents, they're all sold out right after Debby hit. And I went and made sure to buy up enough to carry us on. And we have enough to probably last us another month, just to do the cleaning processes. It's a
It's
lot.
wild the things that we don't normally think about until the time comes, little things like that. Like little things like just stay off the road for a little while and let those that actually need gas to power up chainsaws or anything to clean up the debris, run actual trucks that are, cleaning up the area, all of these things that are like our resources that we use in the area. It's like a lot of the times people just don't take into consideration. Sit back, relax, treat it kind of like COVID. It's a mini vacation. Everything will get back to normal as soon as possible, but we need like actual essential workers out there in the field and not those of us that just want to go and grab a cup of coffee every morning at Starbucks to be, filling up our gas tanks. If we don't need to be anywhere, it's so important not to, just
Yeah,
stay.
I'd say we deal with that with pretty much every storm. The people that are running and loading up on the toilet paper and all the things that they don't need and fuel and filling up gas cans for what? Where are you going? What are you doing? Like, but it's that's one of the things that we always have to deal with. It is what it is. I don't think that'll ever stop. But you know what I do like about this storm, because we're kind of talking about, the change that it brings in. One thing that I love about, I got to choose my words carefully. One of the bright sides of things like a natural disaster or COVID is that everybody's perspective, it's kind of like sets us back a second. It's like, oh, wait a second. This waking up, drinking coffee, go to work, come home, cook dinner, go to bed, wake up. It all gets broken up. And
Yes.
it's just like a reminder that this life that we live, there's so much more to this. We're just these little things, and we think we're so in control of everything that goes on around us, and poof, you have no control. And it's a good reminder that there's a lot more stuff that we can be doing in our lives.
A
There's
lot more
better things.
connection.
It's nice. I love the breaking up. Just like I love when my kids can't have their electronics for 5 hours or 10 hours or however long it was. You
Yeah.
know, I love that
One of
stuff.
my favorite times is when they're home from school, like, oh, school's canceled for today, or like, oh, like a holiday will skip up on you, and you're like, oh, it's professional day. Like, didn't know. Geez, I forgot to put it on the calendar. And I swear, most parents are like, it's so disruptive to their schedule. And, I'm just so fortunate that I have a job where those little things are no longer disruptive in my life. And I can actually enjoy my family time
Enjoy
and
them.
keep
Yes,
them
it's the
close.
enjoying
Oh,
part. It's so hard sometimes, and especially when you get in that rhythm, and it's like those little disruptions when you don't have the disruptions, and then one little disruption comes up, and you're like, "Oh my God, it's the end of the world." We'll bring a hurricane on. It makes everything seem so simple.
it
And this
does.
hurricane was supposed to level us. Like we were supposed to be rebuilding right now. So everybody, I had some people like, "Dang, dude, you sure do seem happy for having the roof ripped completely off of one of your trucks." I'm like, I was expecting that my trucks were going to be flattened. I
Yeah.
was already mentally preparing, and I hate to say this, but who are we keeping and who are we laying off?
Yeah.
What is our next move? What are we canceling? What are we cutting off? These things. And I already had this mentality of, okay, we're going to have to rebuild this company. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was even kind of excited. I was like, ooh, what would I have done differently? I would have done that. I would have done this. I wouldn't have done that. And I was already going through the play-by-play of what this was going to look like. And then I get the call from one of our guys that went up to the warehouse the night of the hurricane to stay there. And he says, "Hey man, bad news. One of the roof is ripped off of one of your trucks." At first, I was freaked out. I was like, "Oh my God, if he can see that from the window, what else is there?" And I got there. That was the only thing. I was happy. And I
Yeah.
jumped in the truck and I made a video. I'm like, "We got a sunroof, guys."
I saw that. That was amazing. I was like, hey, we got a convertible. I love it.
Yeah, but I was prepared for so much more. So this is all we got. Like I was looking at my house. I'm like, okay, this is the way the wind's coming. I'm thinking we're not going to have these sliding glass doors. They're going to get blown out. My window in my room, we have this massive window that we love because we can see all the trees and the tree lines and everything. But I'm like, oh my God, we don't have shutters. We don't have anything. And it didn't do anything to us. I was preparing. I remember my last hot shower before the hurricane. I'm just looking around. I'm like, I really love my house all of a sudden. I think this house is like the most beautiful house ever because I'm just grateful that I have it and I hope it's still here when it's done. We still got our house. We still got our warehouse. We still got we still have the community. Like that's a lot. People, I know that there's a lot of people that have damaged homes, but the good thing about it is that the majority of us don't. And that allows us to help the ones that do. Because when we're all getting destroyed, we can't help you, but we all now have people that can help. I'm here. My house is fine. Everybody else is. So that's a good thing. So I know a lot of people are hurting right now, so I have to choose my words wisely. But I was very happy when I saw what I saw because I know that those few that are hurting, they're going to get help for sure, 100%.
I feel exactly the same. I feel like the anxiety, the leading up, the me scrubbing walls, baseboards, floors, everything, like just cleaning absolutely everything. Somebody made a post that I found to be hilarious. They were saying, Anybody else cleaning up for Milton like he's
We did
coming
the same
over for
thing.
dinner?" I
Isn't that
mean,
crazy?
it was insane, but that's like I learned and my family learned I'm a stress cleaner. So when I'm not
Same
stressed
here.
out, my house looks like a tornado
Same.
actually hit it. But you give me like a stressful situation that is totally out of our control. We made a conscious decision to stay. We weren't able to evacuate because I've way too many dogs to be able to do that. And we hunkered down. That's what we did.
Hunker down.
We hunkered down.
Hunker down. What are you doing over there? Just hunkering down.
Hunkering down. But
It's
yeah,
funny. I stress clean too myself. So like before the hurricane came, I made sure the dishes were done, everything, everything.
everything.
We had a meal in the crock pot. I mean, we just
Yeah.
because it's stressful and you want to feel normal. So we want to create that normalcy in our house and reduce the anxiety so it's clean, cook, do everything you can do. And that's what we did. And we're not the
Yeah.
only ones to do that. That's a normal thing. Thanks, Mom.
Luckily the house is still clean and we cleaned up the outside in a single day. We have a lot of palm trees that are in our backyard. It's a very densely landscaped backyard. It has an older wooden fence. We've lost some panels along the way, but I have a very respectable husband. I mean, he is on it when it comes to anything home related. If there's a project, he won't sleep until that project is complete. And the only reason why he's sleeping now is because he knows we have 6 fence panels that are ordered. We can't get them yet, so
Rest easy. It's
he's got to
coming. The
wait.
fence panels are coming.
They're
Rest
coming.
easy.
They're coming. Like lumber, it's coming. But you know what he did yesterday? He spent all day digging out 6 holes just for the posts to go in so that they're already prepped and ready to go. And I'm just like, you could have just chilled out for a little bit, you know, like just, you don't have to do everything all the same day. And he's like, no, no, you don't understand. Like, I can't sleep. I'll be thinking about this the whole time. The way he operates is very similar to how I operate under stress as well. So we just have to be, you know, we have to show each other grace and respect at this point, and understand that, you know, in order to be a compassionate spouse, we have to give and allow what that person needs to cope, whatever that means. And, you know, for me, it was cleaning, and thank God that, you know, the family was okay with me, like, freaking scrubbing everything in the house. Like, oh my God. And it's like, you know, I have one dog that is a Chihuahua, so he's very hard to potty train. And so we've had him for 2 years now. Yeah, 2 years now. And
Yeah.
it's still every once in a while we'll find a little pea spot. And there is nothing more aggravating to me than, you know, a storm coming through where all the dogs have to stay inside. They won't go out in the rain. So yeah, that was a bit of
No,
pressure.
I hear you. I definitely hear you. And that's another
Yeah.
thing too, that it just like when COVID came, you know, divorces were on the rise. I know me
Oh
and
yeah.
Ashley, we've been together for what, 12 years now. COVID tore us apart.
Yeah. That was hard
And
for a lot of families.
and you know what's weird is I saw, it's funny you mentioned that, 'cause it just comes up about, you know, coping and making sure you give the other space. Because I did just see that somebody was putting a post together and they fighting with their significant other and kicked out of the house while the power's out, and he's got a tent in his backyard. I'm like, you know, it just reminds me of like how tough it gets for families through stuff like this. When you don't have air conditioning, you know, all that stuff, people just start chewing at the core, like, what? It
Yeah.
gets tough. So I think that's a good message for everybody. Just, you know, understand that you're not the only one that's ornery. Maybe you didn't get a good night's sleep. Well, so did everybody else. So be kind to those on the road. You don't know what they're driving back to, or, you know, be kind to those in the grocery store. You don't know what they're going back to. It's tough out there right now. I think everybody's a little short fused. Yeah, that's a
Absolutely.
good message for everybody. Hey, I do got, so one thing I want to mention, I don't know when this will air, but we have about 2 or 3 truckloads of donations, from clothing to, there's some foods and waters, mostly like cleaning supplies. We do have some furniture as well. We started picking up a little bit of furniture. We have not opened our doors to accept furniture, but we did get a few items that we saw available, some beds. And I only mention that I don't want anybody driving furniture over to our warehouse. We're full. We can't take any more.
Let's make that clear.
We are still taking donations. But we've just been stockpiling up because we were taking them from Debby, and now here we are with Milton. So we're waiting to see if any distribution centers open up. Distribution meaning distributing to the public,
Sure.
because we already received them. I don't need to take them to somebody else to receive them. I need to find the distribution centers. There was one in Rabonia, Mothers Helping Mothers was there. And that was for Debby. So when these start to reopen again, I need to find out where they are, and I need to go out and start dropping off loads of stuff to these distribution centers. And I would say we might need help organizing the stuff. I'm assuming
Okay.
we don't. I'm assuming that because the way I saw the distribution centers, there was maybe like 10 tents of different people that were there. So I'm assuming I can just drop it off and they'll do the organizing. But if we need help, I will need outside help because all of our team, our staff were slammed. We wanted to facilitate receiving it and delivering it and storing it, which we did. That takes
Okay.
less manpower from us. But you know, if there's any organizing, I will need help. But if anybody knows of any distribution centers here in Sarasota, Manatee, I have no reason to go to Tampa. We need help here. So I would like to keep our resources here where they came from.
I actually might have a good option for you.
Okay.
Um, I have a good friend. He lives right around the corner. His warehouse is right around the corner. He works in distribution where he takes used items, anything that you want to donate, where you would normally donate to Goodwill,
Mhm.
anything. You can give it to him. He pays you like, I think it's like 10 cents per pound or something like that. And what
Mm.
he does is he ships all of the goods to Guatemala.
Huh. Well, so these items were given to us
Yep.
from people with the intention of it being for Anna Maria, Siesta, our community. And so I want to
He
keep
might be
ours.
able to he might have something in place already and maybe work crew as well that would be able to help you distribute to those islands though. I mean, if he's packaging and shipping major quantities of things to send to a different country, I would imagine that he would have the resources to help you out to be able to help you deliver things.
No, yeah, I mean, if there's anything that can be done there, that's great. But I mean, I am looking for the raw setups on the side of a road where we
Oh,
can
got
pull in
it.
and
Okay.
give the stuff to them that's going to get handed directly to the people.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
I don't need to, and the thing is that we already received it. I don't need anybody to do that again and then have to
Okay.
then go and hand it back out. We
Sure.
want to give it directly to the source that's handing it directly to the people. And I just know that that's going to take, I'm assuming it would take a little time. They might start popping up between today and Monday, today being
Okay.
Saturday and Monday. I knew yesterday there wasn't much going on. But once we find those, we're ready to start making trips out. And this week would be the best week to do it because obviously people are still without power. And truthfully, we're without jobs right now because all of our moves have to get re-inspected before they can sell. So a lot of our
Yeah.
moves postponed. So now's a great time. I'm looking forward to getting these items to distribution areas, hopefully Monday, Tuesday.
Sure. Okay, so we're looking for Monday and Tuesday. You want like set up like pop-up tent type stuff where you
Yeah.
have volunteers come in and you're running those
Well,
pop-up
they already, no, I don't, so we
service.
don't have the manpower to do any of that stuff. We have the manpower to take that truck full of stuff, take it there, help unload it to them, and then those people that are at these little areas are the ones that give them out. Because we've already seen this before. It's usually volunteers, people like mothers helping mothers, different little organizations like that assist in these type of things. They'll set up their pop-up banners or their pop-up stands, and then you have truckloads coming in, stuff that they already had, they're putting it out there. And then you'll have a line of cars of the public that are just there to pick up what they can, food, cleaning supplies, whatever, and it gets handed directly to them. And they just sit there, and then trucks are coming in with stuff, and small businesses and people coming in, from out of every direction. That's what we're looking for.
Perfect. So to answer your question, this actually gets posted today. So as
Oh,
soon as
nice.
it's recorded, it's great avenue to use with Zoom. When you set up your settings, it'll just let me know when the whole thing has been recorded and distributed to me. And then I just take that and I upload it to YouTube. So I'll have it ready to go for you, in the next couple of hours here.
Oh, that's awesome. Love
Yeah.
it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, let me go ahead and wrap this up though. And what I want to let everybody know is your contact information should they need to reach out to you for any of your services. And I have you at 4050 Middle Avenue, Suite A. Is that correct?
Yep. 4050 Middle Ave, Sarasota, Florida.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then we have your contact information at 941-447-1719. Again, this is Blake Fitzpatrick. He's with the Sunshine Movers here in the sunshine state of Sarasota, Florida, and doing all the wonderful things. And hopefully we can get some volunteers set up for you and get those stations ready to go and
Absolutely. And if anybody
helping
wants
our
any more
community.
information, sunshinemovers.com, lots of information there. If anybody has anything that they would like to donate to the hurricane victims, we are still accepting donations at our warehouse. And you can always reach out if you have any questions about that or moving in general.
Is there any type of donations that you're like up to here with that you need other supply or items?
We're good on, we don't need any more water. We have plenty of water. Other than that, it's a good combination of everything. So I'm not going to filter it out. Send it.
Perfect.
Send it.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. I'm so glad that you and your family are all safe. Everything is good. Your house is in great condition. We're both loving our houses even more today. And I look forward to seeing you around the community. So
Awesome. Thank you.
thank you. Have a wonderful
All right.
day.
Bye-bye.